God strengthens you, and with all might. Man, that's a lot of might, isn't it? And that's talking about God's might. God has no lack of strength. And it's according to His glorious power. Gosh, God's power just spoke the word, and the heavens and earth were created. And He says it's unto all patience and long suffering. See, even in times of enduring hardness, and patience means endurance, and just hanging in there, holding on, standing strong, sticking to it. All of those things, patience, endurance through hard times. Paul says to Timothy, endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. Another verse in Proverbs, I believe, it says, the way of the transgressor is hard. Sometimes we think, boy, if I went out and did whatever I wanted to do, I'd have a lot of joy. I'd have a nice life. I could just fulfill my pleasure. But it's hard. You hit the wall, and it's hard. And, but so you say, if I became a Christian, life would always be easy, and it would just be so nice and fun. And but as you get into warfare, you need to endure hardness as a good soldier. So, it's not like being a Christian means you're not going to have anything hard to bear. But He will strengthen you in that. You remember Jesus said in John 16:33, in the world you will have tribulation, trouble. But be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. So the Lord strengthens you there. And long suffering. Wow. Patience is bad enough. But what about long suffering? Like Abraham. Hey, Abe, you're going to have a son, and he's going to be the child of promise, and the Son of God will be born through his descendants, and you'll be a father of many nations. Hallelujah. 25 years later, after making some big mistakes, and so we need God's strength to hold on. We need God's strength to not give out, not give up, and not give in. And notice he says, though, here in verse 11, "He was strengthened with all might, according to His glorious power, unto all patience and long-suffering, with joyfulness." So it's not like, oh boy, another day as a Christian. I got some more things to endure today, and some more hardness, and I've got I'm going to suffer for a long time, and oh, praise the Lord. It's with joyfulness, and that's what's your strength. The joy of the Lord is your strength, you see. In Psalm 118, this, again, taking us back to the source of our joy. Now, I'm going to read a few verses at the beginning of 118. "Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for He is good, because His mercy endures
forever. Let Israel now say that his mercy endures forever. Let the house of Aaron now say that his mercy endures forever. Let them that fear the Lord say that his mercy endures forever. I called upon the Lord in distress. The Lord answered me and set me in a large place. So he's talking about God's mercy, but he's talking about a time he went through a real trial, distress. You know, we sang that song today, I'm trading my sorrows for the joy of the Lord. Isaiah 61 speaks about that, how the Lord has given us the oil of joy for, or instead of, in exchange for, trading, mourning. You know, so we were sad, we're mourning, you know. He's given us the garment of praise instead of the spirit of heaviness, depression, you see. These are the things God has for you, even in tough times. And so he goes on to talk about this trial and so forth, and he says, verse 17, I shall not die but live and declare the works of the Lord. The Lord has chastened me sore, but he's not given me over unto death. So, this was a rough one, you know. He felt like he'd been really chastened, disciplined, taken to the woodshed, and thought he was going to die. You know, Paul speaks in 2 Corinthians 1 how we had, speaking of himself and the people he traveled with, we had the sentence of death in ourselves. In so much, so strong, this sentence of death, that we despaired even of life. You know, something, maybe a shipwreck, maybe being set on by a bunch of God-hating Sadducees and beaten to within an inch of his life. Grabbed at that time he made the spoke there in Jerusalem and almost torn in half by the mob. But whatever it was, at a certain point, they thought, surely we're going to die. There's no hope to make it through this. And he says, but we had this sentence of death in ourselves that we might not trust in ourselves.